Looks like she's in pain after that pass. She had been dealing most recently with the groin injury.
Right here, she explodes, makes the backdoor pass.
You have a wonderful show. I'm so glad I came across you.
Breaking developments have emerged regarding the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game roster changes. Official announcements confirm that Caitlin Clark has been replaced on the All-Star team, marking an unfortunate turn of events for fans who anticipated seeing her participate in her second All-Star appearance. The game, scheduled to take place in Indianapolis, held particular significance given the hometown connection. The WNBA has officially named replacement players for both withdrawn All-Stars. Brittany Sykes has been selected to join Team Clark as Caitlin Clark's replacement for the 2025 All-Star Game. Additionally, Brianna Jones will also join Team Clark, filling the roster spot vacated by Satou Sabally. These additions ensure the All-Star teams maintain their full complement of players for the upcoming showcase.
You have a wonderful show. I'm so glad I came across you. The same day I came across CC, LOL, you rock. Man, I appreciate the love. I truly, truly, truly do. One thing about me, guys, is that I'm not going to hem-haw around with this thing, bro. I'm calling everybody out. Because this young lady has transcended this damn league to heights they never thought they was going to get to. And for the way...
Questions remain regarding the three-point contest participation, as no replacement has been announced for Clark's expected involvement in that specific competition. The uncertainty surrounding this element adds another layer to the weekend's modified plans. The timing of these developments coincides with additional recognition for Clark, who received another significant honor. The WNBA Player of the Year award was presented to Caitlin Clark, marking her second consecutive year receiving this prestigious recognition. The announcement generated substantial social media engagement, with the official post accumulating over 35,000 likes and approximately 600,000 views, along with more than 700 comments demonstrating the widespread interest in Clark's achievements.
For the way they're treating her is despicable. It's despicable and it's disgusting at times, bro. This is bad, man. This is bad, dog. And I feel like somebody need to have that voice for Caitlin. Somebody need to have that voice to call this shit out. Because this is ridiculous. I'm praying for her.
The social media response highlighted the significant disparity in engagement levels compared to other league announcements. The Player of the Year post generated notably higher interaction rates than surrounding content, illustrating Clark's impact on league visibility and fan engagement. Various organizations and sponsors also participated in celebrating the achievement, further amplifying the recognition. During the award presentation ceremony, since Clark was not present, a representative accepted the honor on her behalf. The presenter emphasized Clark's transformative impact on the game over the past year, noting her role in expanding the sport's reach and creating opportunities for future generations. The commentary highlighted her dynamic playing style and entertainment value, describing her as someone who embraces competitive intensity while engaging fans effectively.
I'm praying for her daddy, her brother Colin, her boyfriend. Because as a man, to sit there and watch this young lady get beat, because that's what's happening. She's getting beat. She's getting beat right now. And to watch this young lady night in and night out get beat so bad, her coach is actually contributing to the ass whooping.
The discussion touched on Clark's evolution as a player, suggesting she has developed into a compelling figure who understands how to connect with audiences. The narrative portrayed her as someone who has grown into her role as a prominent league figure, with fans responding positively to her competitive approach and personality. Social media activity surrounding Clark continued beyond the award announcement, with various posts and discussions gaining traction across platforms. One notable development involved fashion choices at league events, where similarities between attendee outfits and league official attire sparked conversation and speculation about intentional messaging or coincidental coordination.
He contributed to the ass whooping. Team's main job is to take Caitlin Clark off the ball. So teams don't want Caitlin Clark with the ball. Guess what Stephanie White did? Took the ball away from Caitlin Clark. You're helping the other damn team. How do you help the other team? Like, I'm tired of holding back, bro. Like, everybody hold.
The broader context of Clark's season included ongoing discussions about the physical nature of play she has encountered. Commentary addressed the intensity of competition she has faced, with some observers drawing comparisons to treatment of star players in other eras and leagues. These discussions touched on the balance between competitive intensity and player protection, particularly in women's professional sports. Various perspectives emerged regarding the appropriateness of physical play levels, with some commentators suggesting that the treatment Clark has received warrants closer examination. The debate encompassed questions about whether current standards adequately protect star players while maintaining the sport's competitive integrity.
Bro, like, everybody's whole objective is to stop Caitlin from passing the ball, being able to shoot the ball, and doing everything she needs to do. But you're helping them, but you're supposed to be her damn coach. Like, I'm not getting, John, the team who wins the championship is the team who can street fight while playing prison ball. I don't know. But at this point, this thing is looking spooky. I said this.
The conversation extended to broader themes about league development and player safety protocols. Some voices called for increased scrutiny of player treatment, suggesting that evolving standards should reflect the league's growth and prominence. These discussions highlighted ongoing tensions between maintaining competitive authenticity and ensuring player welfare. Recent game performance also factored into the overall narrative, with analysis of team dynamics and strategic decisions. The Indiana Fever's recent struggles provided context for the All-Star break timing, with observations about the need for rest and reset opportunities. Game analysis revealed challenges in team chemistry and execution, contributing to disappointing results that contrasted with earlier season optimism.
Before, and I will say it again. Bro. The ratings are going to plummet. Damn right they're going to plummet. I'm liking it, John. Let it rip. I mean, I'm done with this channel. Somebody said I'm done with this channel too. Oh, well. Guess what? You can get blocked. But going back to what I had to say, this thing is looking real spooky, man. So this was Caitlin Clark trying to have a conversation with a WNBA referee.
The combination of individual recognition and team struggles created a complex storyline around Clark's season. While her personal achievements continued accumulating, team performance issues highlighted the challenges of translating individual excellence into collective success. This dynamic reinforced discussions about supporting cast quality and organizational decision-making. Strategic questions emerged regarding roster construction and coaching approaches, with particular attention to how star players are utilized within team systems. The analysis suggested that maximizing elite talent requires careful consideration of surrounding personnel and tactical frameworks.
Trying to have a conversation with a WNBA referee, right? She was trying to have a conversation with this referee. Watch this.
For 4 from 3. So on the road this season, Caitlin Clark is a combined 1 for 30.
Look, everything was just calm.
2.
Did he say to Caitlin? And look at the coaches. What the hell? It's like he whispered something as tonight.
The All-Star break timing provided an opportunity for reflection on the season's developments, both positive and concerning. Individual accolades contrasted with team performance, creating a nuanced picture of progress and remaining challenges. The break offered a chance for physical recovery and strategic reassessment as the season's second half approached. Looking ahead, the replacement announcements ensure the All-Star game proceeds with full rosters, though the absence of marquee players like Clark and Sabally inevitably changes the event's dynamics. The substitute substitute players bring their own skills and storylines, providing opportunities for different narratives to emerge during the showcase weekend.
Aaliyah Boston does use her elbows a lot. Does she commit offensive fouls? Sure. She does. She used her elbows a bit too much. It's on the referees to call that. But I mean this when I say this. An offensive foul does not warrant a swipe to the face. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's basically saying you have, like, kind of... I don't know. You were, like, sealing and you were kind of grabbing onto me. So I suplexed you. And being like, yeah, you know, you deserved it. No. If what happened...
The overall situation reflects the complex nature of professional sports, where individual achievements, team performance, injury management, and promotional considerations intersect. The developments surrounding the All-Star Game serve as a microcosm of broader league challenges and opportunities as the WNBA continues evolving its profile and operational standards. Caitlin Clark has been officially ruled out of the upcoming All-Star Game. While this development carries mixed reactions, the decision appears sound from a strategic standpoint. Few would argue against prioritizing the regular season over an exhibition contest, regardless of the circumstances. The timing proves unfortunate since Indianapolis hosts the event, potentially marking the only occasion the All-Star Game occurs in Indiana during Clark's tenure. However, future hosting opportunities will likely follow Clark's career trajectory. Las Vegas appears positioned to host multiple times, with scheduled events in 2022 and 2026, demonstrating the limited rotation among WNBA markets.
You deserved it. No. If what happens to you is minor, and you retaliate in a major way, you're in the wrong. You are in the wrong. So, let's take a look at this play. So, Aaliyah's getting good positioning. Nothing's happening here. And in fairness, Aaliyah Boston does, while she's trying to get positioning, does kind of make contact with her chin. It is what it is. Could the refs have called it an offensive foul? If Tina Charles flops, it probably is an offensive foul. So then they get tangled up. And Tina Charles, they're kind of getting tangled up there. And Tina Charles clocks in the face.
Clark's absence creates roster adjustments that will likely include Brittany Sykes joining the festivities. The selection committee faces decisions regarding 3 Washington Mystics representatives, with potential considerations for players like Ari McDonald or Bree Jones. The situation presents challenges for everyone involved. All-Star Weekend will undoubtedly generate less excitement compared to the previous year's event. Friday night's three-point contest particularly suffers from reduced star power without Clark's participation. Kelsey Mitchell emerges as the logical replacement for Friday's shooting competition. Mitchell's previous All-Star appearances include wearing an Erica Wheeler jersey as a tribute gesture, though similar homage to Clark seems unlikely this year. Mitchell's three-point contest history shows participation in 2023 but absence in 2024, suggesting possible return to the event.
They're kind of getting tangled up there, and Tina Charles clocks in the face. Like, Tina Charles punched her in the face. I don't know if it was closed fist. I don't know if it was just a slap. But let's look at this in slow motion. It looks even worse in real time. She clocked her in the face. She clocked her in the face. Like, it's open fist. It was not closed fist. She clocked her in the face. And by the way, the referees chose not to
The absence diminishes expectations for what many anticipated would be the most watched All-Star game in league history. Indiana's hosting combined with Clark's second-year prominence created unprecedented anticipation, though viewership might still exceed historical averages. Initial speculation suggested Clark might participate despite injury concerns, treating the event as a casual exhibition. However, her confirmed absence indicates a more serious approach to recovery timeline management. Recovery projections become crucial for Indiana's playoff positioning. The Fever currently maintain a narrow advantage over Golden State, though the Valkyries struggle with consistency issues that may lead to complete organizational breakdown.
Chose not to look at the monitor. Aaliyah Boston spends a good 10 seconds lying on the ground after this, and the referees don't look at the monitor. Like, look, this is in the most favorable outcome is it is a flagrant one. This is a flagrant. I have like my like tiers of flagrant fouls. I have like certain things where I've like a flagrant 0.25, like the JC Sheldon.
Indiana's upcoming schedule includes
the JC Sheldon hip check out of bounds. The Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I think, was a straight up flagrant one. That's what my definition for a flagrant one is. For Dijonet's kind of eye gouge thing, I call it a flagrant 1.5. As in, it's a flagrant 1. Ref could call a flagrant 2. I think Ari McDonald's, when she took out, I can't remember who it was. I think it was against the Valkyrie. She took someone out in the air and just threw him onto the ground. I think that was a flagrant 1.75. I've called this a flagrant 1.
Extended absence scenarios could push Clark's return to the 4 Chicago Sky matchup or potentially the final 10 games of the regular season. Such conservative approaches prioritize long-term health over immediate availability. Multiple injury concerns compound the situation's complexity, making timeline predictions particularly challenging. Different injury types require varied recovery approaches, emphasizing the importance of proper medical evaluation.
I've called this a flagrant 1.85. As in, it is almost certainly a flagrant 2, but maybe the referees could make the argument that like there wasn't the contact wasn't enough, even though there was the big wind up. She did get hit in the face. Maybe they could try to come to some sort of an argument for why this was a flagrant 1, but it's very clearly a flagrant 2, and they called it a common foul. They called a flagrant 1.85 a common foul. Like in the
Satou Sabally's concurrent absence further weakens Team Clark's all-star representation. The combination of missing stars virtually guarantees defeat in the exhibition contest. Clark's potential participation in the three-point contest initially seemed possible despite game absence, though current indications suggest complete withdrawal from weekend activities. Aaliyah Boston likely assumes captain responsibilities in Clark's absence, though the Team Aaliyah designation seems awkward given the circumstances. The roster loses 2 significant contributors, creating substantial competitive disadvantages.
A common foul. Like in the best way you can look at this, the most favorable outcome for Tina Charles is that it's a flagrant 1, and the rest call it a common foul. She just clocked her in the face. She just clocked her in the face. Like this does not get better the more times you look at it. This does not get better. It gets worse, and they didn't even go to the replay. They didn't even go to the replay. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing from the league. That is.
The Buena Bonner's all-star selection remains uncertain, though recent social media activity suggests possible inclusion. The replacement process likely involves Brittany Sykes and potentially Bree Jones, depending on selection committee preferences. Alternative scenarios include Dearica Hamby receiving recognition, which wouldn't be controversial given her performance levels. Hamby's recent communications hint at possible all-star inclusion, though official confirmation remains pending. Natasha Cloud represents another logical replacement candidate, particularly given her availability and recent performance metrics. The selection process must balance geographical representation with merit-based considerations.
That is embarrassing from the league. That is absolutely embarrassing from the WNBA. That is embarrassing from the referees. That is embarrassing from the league. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen, Aaliyah Boston, AB elbowing as usual, then being dramatic. She got smacked in the face. Like, she literally had a wind-up smack to the face, and then she's being dramatic for falling on the ground. I'm sorry. These people are like, they are deranged. They are deranged. They're absolutely, that's the only word. Like, they are absolutely.
The overall situation presents interesting challenges for league marketing and fan engagement. While Clark's absence reduces excitement levels, the All-Star Game will likely maintain elevated interest compared to pre-2024 events. Attendance and viewership projections still exceed historical averages, even without Clark's participation. The event remains positioned as the second largest All-Star Game in recent memory, trailing only the previous year's record-setting occasion. The decision ultimately prioritizes competitive integrity over short-term entertainment value. Clark's extended recovery period serves Indiana's championship aspirations better than risking further injury complications during an exhibition contest.